and I'm recording it as well. So people, hello, if you're watching the replay. And also I know some people were trying to get in still, so they will join us from Europe too. So for those of you that have read any of my stuff or followed, been with me before, you'll know that I don't actually like New Year's resolutions. And the main reason for that is because, and it happened to me again, New Year's Eve, we were sat around eating supper in Kenton on the beach, and it was, what are your New Year's resolutions for this year? What are you going to do? What do you want more of? And they're kind of on the spur, like on a whim, and you haven't really thought about it, or if you have thought about it, I'm not going to go into like a 20-minute rant about what mine are and seem way too eager. And so you kind of just set whatever comes into your head, and that often then is based on somebody else's version of success rather than your own. And so usually, I think the stats that I read on the Huffington Post, so obviously very accurate, are 80% of us fail by the end of January. And that's usually because of external demands on our time, or we just it's been such a big overhaul to our normal routine that it was never going to be realistic to maintain it longer than that anyway. And so as we start, I just wanted to kick us off with a lovely quote from Lynn Twist, who wrote, it's from the book, The Soul of Money. And I keep coming back to this quote because it has really helped me throughout most of my journey, especially my expat journey. And she says, for me and for many of us, our first waking thought of the day is, I didn't get enough sleep. The next one is, I don't have enough time. Whether true or not, that thought of not enough occurs to us automatically before we even think to question or examine it. We spend most of the hours of the days of our lives hearing, explaining, complaining, or worrying about what we don't have enough of. We don't have enough exercise, we don't have enough work, we don't have enough profits, we don't have enough power, we don't have enough wilderness, we don't have enough weekends. Of course, we don't have enough money, ever. We're not thin enough, we're not smart enough, we're not pretty enough, or fit enough, or educated, or successful enough, or rich enough, ever. Before we even sit up in bed, before our feet touch the floor, we're already inadequate, already behind, already losing, already lacking something. And by the time we go to bed at night, our minds are racing with an itinerary of what we didn't get or we didn't get done that day. We go to sleep burdened by those thoughts and wake up to the lack of ... What begins as a simple expression of our hurried life or even our challenged life grows into the great justification of an unfilled life. We have the choice in any setting to step back and to let go of the mindset of scarcity. Once we let go of scarcity, we discover the surprising truth of sufficiency. By sufficiency, I don't mean the quantity of anything. Sufficiency isn't 2 steps up from poverty or 1 step short of abundance. It isn't a measure of barely enough or more than enough. Sufficiency isn't an amount at all. It's an experience, a context we generate, a declaration, a knowing that there is enough and that we are enough. Sufficiency resides in each of us, and we can call it forward. It's a consciousness, an attention, an unintentional choosing of the way we think about our circumstances. And I just think that that's such a beautiful reminder that there's lots of things we can't control in our life. We can't control the work permit situation. We can't control when we're going to move again. We can't control other people in our life, but we can control our mind and our perspective, and how we start and how we finish every day is our own responsibility. And so tonight is about giving yourself that permission to dream. Now, you guys that are here live have all done coaching before, so you'll kind of be tuned into giving yourself permission and be open to answering questions. But for those of you that haven't done this before, my request is that you go with it, that you try and connect back to your inner child, the child that probably believed in Santa Claus and then probably didn't ask how or why Santa happens. I think expat life is a mixture of highs and lows. And tonight we're going to revel in those amazing memories of 2018. But also probably there are some extreme lows, particularly for those that have just moved or moved recently in 2018. There may be some scars and some bruises and some knocks to our confidence. And I know, Esther, probably for you too, it's been a massive year with change in your career. And the challenge to who we actually want to be and our own personal journey, our own personal branding, and trying to figure out and to define or to get a step closer to what success looks like for us. So the system that I have put together, and I did a bit with Dana initially, was on my background in professional sport. And it's a system that we used that was drilled into us, whether we were players, whether they were the coaching staff and the marketing staff, which is what I was in. And it's basically become a foundational strategy for me and clients that I've worked with to ensure we can settle quickly abroad, but then to create a portable career that enables you to sparkle again. So I'm also going to share our 90-day planning towards the end of the call too, that will help you then to implement some of your dreams that you are thinking through. So to get the most out of this evening, I recommend you've already gone somewhere quiet, that you shut down the tabs, and that you grab your 2018 calendar and your 2019 calendar or planner, or just have some space. And of course, the workbook. Oh, Esther, look at your little doggy. Adorable. Is that new? It must be new. Adorable. Okay, so before we kick off, you guys know that this is me. But for those that I haven't met, my name is Hannah. I love trail running. I'm a mother of twin boys and a 7-year-old daughter now. A wife, a sport lover, and a Brit living here in Johannesburg, South Africa. In addition to championing other expats who are evolving in their careers, I'm also a brand strategist and work with companies big and small, and particularly in the sports industry, to develop their digital strategy. I've managed to create multiple income streams, enabling me to truly live and work around our global family commitments, to take time for myself and to take a massive month off over Christmas, which we've just had, which is amazing. And throughout this year, my aim is to help as many of you to also start your freelance journey together. So over to you. What are you excited by in 2019? Are you waking up every day feeling excited and energized about what's next? Knowing that you're working on something significant and crafting a career that's perfectly fitting around your life? If the answer is no, then what's made you give up on that dream? What's stopping you? Because I know you can, particularly you, Vivi, having done the Global Intern Program. I hope you're excited about what's next. And you, Esther, will get excited about what's next by being on the Global Intern Program. So we can have a career that's portable. Technology has enabled that to happen now. From back at the time when I was working with Dana in 2014, 13, there wasn't as many opportunities online as there is now. And so basically the opportunities are out there, and you can use this time that you have abroad to re-energize your career or to start something new, providing that it is in line with who you are. So if you're looking for a new direction in 2019, but you're not sure where to start, or if you're dreaming of a career that truly engages you, that you can do from anywhere, then you're going to love these exercises and the workbook that hopefully you have in front of you. Because the reality is there's actually nothing stopping you from starting tomorrow or even tonight. Oh, there you are, look, Vivi, there's you. So what is stopping you? Maybe you're concerned about your work permit and that you don't have a work permit and you've told that it's not possible for you to work anymore. Or maybe it's too late for you to change your career now and you don't have the time and the energy to retrain again from scratch. And practically, you've invested too much in your degree and your current career path. Or maybe you're concerned about how to explain the big gap on your CV. You're only meant to be abroad for a couple of years and it's been maybe over 10. Or that there aren't any jobs that excite you and give you that flexibility that you need. And possibly, if you are like me, you've looked for jobs in an industry that you love, that you've built your experience and your credibility in, but because you're not local, no one will employ you. And you basically have no other clue where to start or what the other skills are. You see, this was me. I was in the prime of my life, having spent years working to get my dream job, working as part of the London 2012 Olympic Games. And there was not going to be another London 2012 in my lifetime. I had my whole life mapped out in front of me, and then my husband was offered a promotion, which included moving abroad. In the beginning, it was all really exciting. A new country, I could finally have a dog, and we could have children, first Florence, and then the twins. And I could explore all the amazing countryside and started trail running. We even managed to get a dog. But both my husband and I completely underestimated the impact the move would have on my confidence. My career was my identity, my passion. It had been my life since I was about 15 years old. And now it wasn't there anymore. And what was meant to be a 2-year assignment has now turned into 8, possibly more. I had no clue how to get things back on track. On Instagram, I had everything. I had the beautiful house, the amazing holidays, and even the dog. But I was resentful towards my partner and resentful for this life that I didn't even know I was part of. I didn't have a clue about the future. And I just couldn't get rid of this nagging scarcity feeling that we mentioned at the beginning of the call, that I wasn't making the most of my time here. And so I'm sure, like most of you, I jumped from project to project and thing to thing, seeking to try and find that reassurance that I was enough, that I still had skills. So I tried volunteering, I started a master's, I worked for free for a sports club. I did, oh my goodness, so many things. But actually it wasn't until I pressed pause and started my own coaching journey, which I did with Dana initially, and started that personal branding journey of, okay, what does success look like for me? And yes, it means now public speaking, which is a bit scary and still really scary. And I am on my plan E rather than that initial plan A that I had. But that initial plan A that I had, I realize now wasn't my version of success. It was the middle class, well-educated girl, British girl in England. This is what you will go on to do, and this is what you will strive for. And then you'll be happy. And moving abroad and having that time to press pause has given me a whole different perspective, a perspective that means I can have multiple income streams, a perspective that means I can work for myself, a perspective that I'm trying to be less scarcity and more sufficiency, that I am enough, regardless of any of the statistics around career and what I'm doing. And so I'm pretty proud that I am now in a place that I'm contributing back to the family pot, even though it's tiny, and that I'm a positive role model for our kids. But most of all, I'm proud that I've got the confidence back again, that I can show up and present, and that I can turn up as Hannah rather than Hannah's Matt's husband or Florence's mum. And so that's my story of how I use my time abroad to branch out and to look into different directions. And thank you guys that are here live, because actually you've all been part of those different steps. But it's also what the wonderful Bia, who's currently in Switzerland, has also done. And she just started with me in January last year. So in January last year, 2018, she was looking to get back into her career in HR. Her kids were settled, her husband was settled, but she wanted more from her time and more from her week. And so we started the personal branding process, similar to the one we're going to go through tonight. And actually, she went from wanting to work in HR to finally getting a job offer to actually turning that down to focus on her new sparkle, her new passion as a videographer. She's also just completed the Global Intern Program, and she now has a waiting list of clients queuing up to use her services. And that's just 1 year after she started to take the time to press pause, to figure out what success looked like for her, rather than what success looks like in Switzerland or what her parents think. And she's now built her confidence and the foundations ready to grow her own business, ready for when they move back, which I think probably is the end of this year. And then there's a wonderful Sylvia, who after raising 4 children felt it was time to focus on herself. I think she's lived in every continent there is across the world. And it was her children that actually said, come on, Mum, it's time for you. What are you going to do now? So she wanted a job that she could fit around visiting her kids, and her husband travels an awful lot still. So she wanted to still be there, particularly for her younger son. And so after just 3 weeks on our global intern program, she'd actually regained and seen the different opportunities that were possible. And now she's busy creating that new future. She's busy working on an MBA program, and I know that she's going to create her own income to give her the flexibility that she needs. So just imagine you're starting 2020 with a waiting list of clients. You have an additional income or a business, or just have got new skills to further your career, which work regardless of where you live. But it all starts with looking back, with pressing pause, because it's only when we press pause and we look back that we can move out of this mindset of scarcity and into the mindset of sufficiency. Because it's exactly what athletes do after every single match, is they take time to bring awareness to their performance. So they look at the measurements, they look at the statistics, but they also ask themselves questions too. So I want you to open your workbook, and then I am just going to play us a song, and I want you to start answering. And you can look through your calendar as well if you want to, or look through photos, or even look through WhatsApp messages of key people in your life to see what's happened this year, to take stock. And then just write down everything, good, bad, frustrations, highs, lows, in that section in your workbook. Ready? Let's go. Okay, so you can always come back to this, and if you're listening to it on replay, then just press pause if you need a bit more time to complete, because I'm sure you've done lots of amazing things during 2018. And now on the next page in your worksheet, there's what I call quick fire questions. And if you've done some work with me before, you'll know that basically you've just got to write for 30 seconds. So don't filter it, don't think about how, don't worry about who's going to read it, it doesn't matter. There's no right, there's no wrong. You've just got to write whatever comes to your head for 30 seconds. So the first question is, in 2018, I realized how much I care about ... In 2018, I realized how much I care about. Okay, the next one. I show my sparkle, so that's I'm using my strengths or aligned to my values, I call it sparkle, when I am doing or experiencing or being myself. I show up as myself when I am. So what are some of the ways you are most you? And then I now understand why. And then finally, athletes will always take with them some things about their match or their performance, and they psychologically choose to leave certain experiences behind. And so in 2019, what do you need to remember? What will you stop feeling, or what are you leaving behind, and what are you taking with you? So for me, it's about slowing down, it's trying to create more of that white space, that space for downtime. And then I'm leaving behind, hopefully, scrolling on my phone and comparisons and reading emails without responding. So what are some of the things you want to take with you? Okay, very well done. So in the same way, the athletes dream and then they break that dream down. So that whether it's to win a Rugby World Cup or an Olympic gold medal, that is their dream. That's the head of their 4-year training plan. And then they break that down into a seasonal training plan for the year, and then a match by match or week by week plan. So they always know what to focus on. And that's also how I choose to break my year up. I've got a crazy goal that would be to live in Kenton by the sea, where we were at Christmas, and to earn dollars and to be able to travel to see my kids at university across the world. And that's kind of my big crazy goal. And then I break it down into the year and then into 90 days. So we're going to now look forward to 2019 and starting with our spider diagram. And you can basically use your spider diagram in any way you want. You don't have to. I've just given you suggestions here for what some of the sections could be. Don't worry at the moment for the beginning, for the circle bit. So just to have a look at those, and those you can change, you can alter to sound and fit better with you. But all we're going to do firstly is just bring the awareness to where we are currently. So put a cross next to the grey lines, which is a scale. So if you suck at your confidence currently, then put it right by the circle in the middle, put a cross there. If you're pretty confident and you nailed it, then put it at the blue circle on the furthest way. So you still need work on it, put it in the middle, and then you are brilliant at it, put it on the outside. And then once you've done that, you can just join them to create your own kind of starting point for your own spider web for this year. Or you can do this on a separate piece of paper as well, if that's more helpful. Okay, now it's the fun bit. Now we're going to start planning for 2019, or not planning, dreaming 2019. Because what I want you to do now is to brainstorm and write all over the web, all over that piece of paper, the 101 things that you would like to do more of this year. You can do it in the sections, you could just write it on a different piece of paper if you want to. What are the things you want to do more of? What are some of the things you're jealous of other people for having that you would like? How would you like to feel? Would you like to feel more energized this year? Would you like to feel more healthy? Would you like to feel more vibrant? Would you like to feel more at peace? What makes you excited? And what would you be proud of achieving? So have a go at, just go nuts, basically. And if you're stuck on this, then you can use, in a couple of pages in the workbook, there's a bucket list for some more prompts. But just brainstorm. It's not a to-do list, but it can turn into a to-do list, to just brainstorm all the different ways. So for example, mine would be to run more trail running races, to play more tennis, to have more Sunday lunches. You get it, you get the gist. So keep coming back to this. As things pop up in your mind, keep putting it down. But for now, have a look and just ask yourself why. So why is this important? Why does this matter to me? Whose version of success are these things? So just check in with yourself, and by asking yourself why, you often then, it's like an onion, peel it off to see what the root motivation is, and it just will act as a barrier for, or stripping back those expectations of culture, stripping back those expectations that we read in the newspapers or in magazines, or that our parents have had, or teachers, or whatever role models and influences we've had in our life. Just a simple, why does this matter to me, will give you a U-turn, will give you a chance to press pause and just check in. So if there's any that are on there that aren't of you, you can cross them off. Then the second thing is that this isn't a to-do list. It's just all of your dreams. So some things you might do, some things you're never going to do. On mine is to learn to horse ride. I'm not going to learn to horse ride this year, but it's on there. And another one is to go camping. Well, I might do that, and to create more systems in my business. So there's things in there that you will do, and then there's things that won't. But just have a look and see if there's any things that you can club together. So obviously, if you've gone through the wheel and through your spider web, then there will be things you can club together. And then are there any things that you could club underneath the way that you would like to feel? So maybe, and this is from Daniela Laporte. She has a great book. I'll try and remember the name of it and put it in the notes. But she wrote about, instead of setting goals, we should set ways that we want to feel. And so this also helps move you from the feeling that I'm not enough into the space of abundance. And so maybe it's brave, or you want to be more authentic. And this is where, inside that circle, you can answer the question, in 2019, it is time for. So it is time for whatever it is time for. It's time for, and you might use just one word. So to feel more free, to be brave, to be authentic, to evolve. It's time for beauty. It's time for creativity. Whatever. It can be absolutely anything. So just jot that down. Okay, so the next step in our third step system is all about taking action, because it's when we start taking action and stepping out of our comfort zone that's when we learn who we are, and that's when we learn and get challenged on our mindset more than anything. And athletes obviously do a lot of sports psychology, and they have a growth mindset. There's Carol Dweck has written a great book called The Growth Mindset, I think, but she's done lots around a growth mindset. And it's basically just believing that you're not a finished article, that you can still learn, you can adapt, and you can change, but that change requires hard work and you stepping out of comfort zones and facing a fear of looking stupid or a fear of failure. And so the way that athletes help to protect that growth mindset is through their environment. And we all operate in different ways. So we all need different levels of accountability or a different support system. but we don't need to do it by ourselves. And so on the worksheet, the title, Who Do I Need? We're not going to do it now, but that's just to answer those questions. And then also, what is it time for? To do a bit of brainstorming to put in the center of your spider web. So you can do that and come back to it once you've thought some more. But then finally, the final stage of taking action. And the last few pages, it really depends on what type of person you are. So for some people, you just want to write down 10 things. So go back to your spider web for your big brainstorm, take 10 things that most inspire you and write them down. And you'll do that for 90 days and stick it on your pin board or put it as a backdrop, create a vision board around it if you want to, do a Pinterest board, whatever. You can go crazy. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever works best for you. But the key thing is to break it down into smaller chunks. And so the monthly planner is what I use. And basically I look at my spiderweb sheet and then I look at what I want to prioritize for those 90 days, for those kind of, for 3 months. So personal priorities, I ask Matt what he has going on and what he wants to prioritize, and then what the kids, how I have to parent, what's going on for that, and then finally career priorities. And it's interesting, I did it this way because previously my mind would always go straight to career first rather than kids. I don't know what that says about me, but this way I kind of makes me refocus and rebalance. And I suppose it's that I'm enough thing again popping up, keeps popping up. And so then I put what the weekly priorities are for that week. And then the day my week is daily themes, just are helpful, particularly if you're running your own business and setting up as a freelancer, to do things on specific days and to chunk your time. So it could be that you do client stuff on one day. It could be that you do your own marketing on another day, admin on another day, and then have a kids day or a family day, or you start later one day because you're going to boxercise or yoga or whatever it is. So the key thing is to try and put different themes in, and particularly if you have got a theme for the year, so to be brave, you would put that in there as well. And the thing here is to put in recurring goals as well. So for example, every month I want to have a family fun day, a day out with the family. I want to have do something with Matt, and I want to go out with the girls. Like those 3 things I put on my monthly planner, and I try to tick them off literally because I love ticking stuff. And I try to do it every month. So it's just to have a think from your spiderweb thing. Are there any habits? Are there any recurring things that I could set to try and do every month that will bring back my sparkle and that will make me feel a bit more authentic and me? Not rocket science, it's not massive, but it has helped me to focus and to prioritize, and to basically make sure that my calendar is full of stuff that I have personally said yes to and I have actively said no to. So it reflects my priorities rather than being swayed by everyone else and what everyone else is doing. So hopefully those worksheets will help you as well, but I don't want those to scare you. By no means do you have to do them. You can just do whatever system works best for you, providing that you are focusing on something and taking steps forward in something. And so the next 3 months, I'm going to do kind of quarterly check-ins. So at the end of March, we'll come back together again. And then some of us would have probably had breakthroughs. And for others, it might be full of loads of mistakes. But actually, both is brilliant for me because it means we're learning, we're growing, we're stepping out of our comfort zone and we're trying. And trying means we're not settling for the status quo. Trying means we're not actually prepared to live as 1950s housewives. And it means letting go of this need to be perfect. It means we're figuring out our dreams and we're figuring out our own personal brand and what success looks like for us. And that is something I can get very excited about. So, I can. Cool. Well, I am just going to finish off by telling people about the Global Intern Program. So Esther is doing it this year. We start in a couple of weeks. And Vivi, do you just want to share your experience? Because you're fresh. You just finished. Why did you do it? And how has it helped? And what now?
I think the main reason why I did it was that I did marketing before, but for a tobacco company, and I was always missing the digital part. And so I think that was the main reason why I did it, to learn about the digital part of the marketing, the social media aspects. The second thing was I needed a group that holds me accountable to move on, to really do it and not just think and talk about it and, just get me going. And I loved the combination of theory and practice. I think that's what made me sign up in the end, is that since you're partnered up with a company, you really have to do it and you have to jump in and you have to put yourself out there and post the first time for someone else on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And then you follow the insights every day and the data and you think, oh, damn, I didn't get more than they did before, bam, bam, bam. Anyway, so, and also for networking reasons, I must say, or meeting like-minded people, women, whatever. Yeah. So it was such, and still is, it's such an inspiring group and positive, and no other Germans. Yay. So no, it was, I think, it sums it up. There's not just one reason, it's several aspects, and it really came true.
I just wanted to, for those that are interested in knowing more about the program and who it is for and helping themselves this year to kind of make stuff happen. And this was our wonderful group last year. And Vivi is, she does have a background in marketing, but you don't have to. So in fact, most of the other people don't have any background in marketing at all. And the amazing thing about social media is it builds upon the skills and the experiences that you already have. It just digitalizes it, and it's in demand. So the reason that Bia has got so many clients already is because there's not enough people out there that are offering it, and the ones that are offering it are doing a pretty rubbish job of it. So if you can do half a decent job of it, and you will be able to, because you can just build on previous experience in the industry, then it's actually quite a fun thing to be able to do. So we have just 2 spaces left for the January intake. And it's basically for anyone who wants to use their time to diversify their skills, to be accountable for something, to learn new things, and to get experience. So we partner you with a local company or a company wherever you live, to be able to run their social media for them, or to train somebody and to mentor somebody that is already working there. So for example, in South Africa, it might be that you mentor a young social media or marketing person, but you can teach them how to do it. And so it basically gives you a business to do in a box in 90 days. It gives you the in-demand digital skills, gives you hands-on experience, and builds your local and a global network. So you can use the skills then to go back into your current role when you return home, or what most of the people last year are doing are starting out on a freelance journey. It gives you ready-made mentors. So the days of a single track linear career are way gone. Millennials and kind of the next generation, don't know what they're called, are branching out and are taking on, they already have 4 or 5 side hustles going. They're not prepared to have just one job and work the corporate 9 to 5. And actually, once you start working for yourself and you work freelance, you realize how much more you get done without going to an office, and how much time you wasted in meetings and in office politics and just all of the rest of the baggage that you think you really enjoy. But really, once you're out of it, I'm happy to not be part of that. And so we interview and we talk with a range of people who have made it happen for themselves and are working and are living life differently. It gives you experiences to talk about in future job interviews if you do want to go back into corporate, and also just gives you that confidence to be able to know that you've got skills and you've got something to talk about. And it does give you friends and colleagues for life, people that you can just chat to. And we chat like this on Zoom. So it doesn't matter where in the world you are or where you're moving to. The whole plan is through Spark Global, which is the next stage, is that we are a virtual agency. So we all work for ourselves, take on clients as and when, but we touch base weekly, monthly, whatever that might be, to support one another and to help one another. So we're like our own virtual chosen team and colleagues, rather than it being forced on us. And you're part of a global network. So it starts off with a 2-day retreat, which is just an hour outside Joburg. So you do need to fly in if you're based somewhere else for that. And that looks at all of this personal branding. So you press pause on your life, you escape from your children and whatever, your partner and everything else, and just give yourself time to figure out what your version of success is. You don't get there after 2 days, but you get the process started. It's an ongoing process. Then we follow it up with, we partner you with a real life project, company or NGO that needs support with their social media. And then what we're going to do slightly differently is you will have a lecture and then you will implement that. And then you have another lecture and then you implement it with a client. So you get lectures every kind of 2 weeks, and in between you'll be working with your client. So you work with your client from almost get-go, which isn't that scary. The clients are lovely. These are some of the clients we've got, and they've just went to the Ronald McDonald Children's Hospital. They're crying out for somebody to come and help them and to mentor someone that already works with them. So these are some of the clients that we had on the round just gone. But again, we can find different ones as well. It's fine. There's lots of people that want help. And then there's masterclasses with people that are already social media managers, so you can ask them questions, you can find out what their life looks like, what their daily routine looks like. Your pad is you're linked with somebody else to become accountable to one another, to talk through your schedule, to ask questions with. And then we have experts. So we've got Tessa Graham, who was done the personal branding for Jamie Oliver and Tasha's, and she's just phenomenal. And then Spilly, who is South Africa's #1 business freelance coach. So all in all, the cost for the whole program is $2,800 plus VAT. But that includes absolutely everything. And just the retreat in itself, that's an absolute bargain because it's such an amazing place. You can have a payment plan, so you can pay for it over a number of months because it is a lot. But it's cheaper than retraining as a coach, or it's cheaper as retraining as a teacher. And you will be able to make that money back pretty quickly and pretty easily. There are clients out there that will bite your hand off for support in doing social media. So by the end of the year, you would easily have made the money back and have yourself set up and running if you chose to to become a social media or digital consultant. But it also opens doors for lots of other, so copywriting or newsletter or website development or training. So you could go and train small business owners on their social media, running workshops, whatever. It is absolutely open. It just, I think it was you actually, Vivi, that said to me, the group just gone said one of the main things that the program did was just take the first step, was get them started to see what else is possible, because we don't know, because we've been trained to think that we go in, we work hard, we get a degree, we go into that job and we leave when we retire, and then as Dana is, we've got to figure out what to do next with the rest of our life. I'm kind of hoping that I can make this retirement come in and amongst work, so I will always carry on working. We'll see. But yeah, this is certainly a great starting point. And so on that, I just really want to encourage you to not, it doesn't matter if you don't know your why. It doesn't matter if you don't have your Olympic medal. It doesn't matter if you know what the version of success is you're striving towards. All that matters is you've got some idea and you take that first step. You don't have to know what the finishing line is. You've got to just figure out this process and enjoy the process. And I hope that through that process, you get your sparkle and your confidence back, because the world needs you to show up as yourself. And if we all do that, then there is no competition. It doesn't matter who else is doing anything else. If you want to know more about the Global Intern Program, then drop me an email and we can sort out a call, and I can answer any more individual questions. But that is it for me for now. Yay, Zoom worked. Hallelujah. And for those watching the replay, sorry about last night again. And if you have any questions, then you just need to email me. Anything else before we sign off? No, we're all good. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much from all over the world. It was so lovely to see you again, Dana. And lovely to finally meet you, Raina.
Thank you.
Face to face and everything. Cool. Have a lovely evening. Bye for now.
Good night.